Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome to another episode of the Positive Head Podcast. Say that 10 times really fast. Positive Head Podcast.
The Positive Headcast is what I've called it.
Positive Headcast. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you may be listening to this. I know here in Positive Head Podcast studio, it is Monday morning, and yeah, it's a beautiful Monday. I have to pinch myself. It's such a blessing to get to wake up every day or not every day, but 5 days a week and do this. It's
well, you do get to wake up every day, hopefully.
Yeah, well, until the day that you don't.
But no, I hear you though, huh? What a privilege to be, putting time and energy into this, what you refer to many times as a labor of love.
Yep.
And with the word love there being so key, we are trying to spread the positivity. And as you've said many times, it comes back to us and makes us feel really good. And then we get feedback from all of you out there who are finding great value in what we're doing. That is just all we could ever hope for.
Yeah. Yeah, I encourage everyone to take like one time a day at least. What can I do to just make someone smile? I love, we had Tex Allen on a while back talking about why the nose. What a brilliant thing he's doing of how many people he's making smile. For those of you who haven't heard that podcast, he actually takes a clown nose and he wears it almost everywhere he goes, and he's given out like thousands and thousands of them over the years because people react to them so positively and come up to him. And so, I encourage that. This is our way of kind of putting something good out into the world, and what I call selfish good deed, because we know it's going to come back. And, I encourage everyone to find their own unique way to do to spread positivity. And speaking of, as the gratitude that we have, we're not too far away from Santa Claus coming to town. And as a great big thank you from us here at the Positive Head Podcast to you, we would like to offer you a little Christmas gift. And Dan, this is the cue to edit in the jingle bells.
Oh.
Ching, 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 ching.
Oh, so magical.
And what we would like to do, as you guys know, if you've been on the positivehead.com website, we have a few products. We have T-shirts, and we have really cool T-shirts actually with not only the Positive Head logo, we also have some that what we call chemistry quotes. So they look kind of like chemistry quotes. If you read them, they have some sort of an interpretation, like "I love," period.
Right. They look like a chemical formula.
Right. There you go. Thank you. So it looks like a chemical formula, and it's one of those things where anyone who sees you wearing it is going to be kind of looking at your shirt like, okay, what does that say? It takes a minute to kind of interpret what you're seeing. And then, of course, the idea is once they get the positive message that's on the other side, it releases, feel good chemicals, and it's another unique little way to spread positivity. But We're not going to give you T-shirts, but for your Christmas gift, what we have, our main product is the Positive Head Bracelet. And that was inspired by the idea, for those of you who aren't familiar with it or haven't heard about the Positive Head Bracelet, it was inspired by the idea of basically wearing a rubber band on your wrist as a reminder to kind of snap yourself if you're having a negative thought or emotion, or if you're trying to break a habit like smoking or something like that. And this is something that psychologists have, or psychiatrists rather, have used for years as a tool that they recommend to patients from time to time. And I heard about this a few years ago for the first time, and I thought it was like a really interesting concept, wearing something that is just to be used as a reminder to kind of snap out of it if you're having a negative thought or feeling and so forth. So we made bracelets, Positive Head bracelets. It has the Positive Head logo on it, and we made them out of recycled tires, recycled metal. So they're, of course, as eco-friendly as possible. And yeah, that's one of the things that we have on the website. And so, and then as far as snapping yourself with me, Dalien, I don't know about you, we both wear Positive Head bracelets. I snap myself for the first few days, but really it serves much more as a visual reminder. Some people really resonate with the idea of, snapping themselves. I think just having that visual reminder on your wrist, every time you see it there, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, keep a positive head, keep a positive head. So we're so grateful to all of you that have supported the show. We've grown tremendously in, recent months. We launched last spring, and it's really grown a lot in the last couple months especially. And we're so grateful to all of you. So as a Christmas gift from Dalien, myself, and everyone else over here at the Positive Head team, we'd like to offer you a Positive Head bracelet as our gift from us to you.
Oh, that's really cool. Merry Christmas, everyone.
And
Christmas
happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy any kind of celebratory thing. I know Anna, who is on the show regularly, coming originally from Ukraine, their big thing is New Year's. So happy New Year's, whatever it may be.
Happy winter solstice event.
Happy bean, everyone. And so here's what you do. If you'd like to get a free Positive Head bracelet, go onto the website and you can actually see the sizes on the product page, like you were going to order one and pay for one. Just look at the sizes there. It'll give a description of what size, based off of, if you're a kid or if you're a larger, a giant bodybuilder, obviously you get an idea. It'll give recommendations on sizes. Then just go over, instead of paying and ordering, go over to the contact page of positivehead.com and just drop us an email and put, I'm a podcast listener and I'd like to claim my gift, and give us your address. If you don't want us to know your name, maybe you're an old friend of mine who you don't want to know me to know that you listen to what I do. That's fine. You can put Santa Claus as who it's sending to with the address. Put whatever you want. We just want to get them out there to you guys because we do really, really appreciate you. And not only that, we'll send you up to 2 of them. So if you want more than one, once again, the idea is spreading the positivity, one for yourself and one for, someone who you think would really appreciate it and really, get a lot out of it, and you want to give it as a Christmas gift to them or something like that, or just in general. So as many as 2. Obviously, if you don't have someone that you want to give one to, just tell us one size. If you want 2 of them, give us 2 sizes. And once again, your mailing address, and we'll get those out. Basically what we'll do is the first 100 people that we get those orders from. So, so go ahead and, once you hear this, if you'd like to claim your Positive Head bracelet, it is our way of saying thank you for supporting and showing us love because without it, it'd be me and Dalien here talking to ourselves, which we do anyway.
Right. And then the bracelets would also be sitting here in their boxes, and that's nice and all, but they're going to do a lot more good out there in the world.
Exactly. It's once again, it goes with everything that we talk about. You really receive by giving. That's the ultimate. And think about it, even at Christmas and things like that, you always are most excited to see people unwrap what you've given them rather than what you're going to get. Maybe when you're a little kid, not so much. But
yeah.
I know for me, it feels so good to give, and so we just want to take in honor of this season and give a little back to you guys. So thank you. And drop us an email and let us know, and we'll send you your free bracelet.
That's all really fantastic, Brian. And I loved your mention of Texas, Why the Nose, and his whole deal there, because that really resonates with me, what he's doing.
Yeah.
There's something really sort of simply sweet about, just slapping a red clown nose on your face, and you don't really need to take a different approach. If that works for you and if that puts a smile on your face and the people who see you, then that is already a huge thing. I'm just reminded of Courtney Nelson, of course, who sent us that message last week and asking how she can spread the positivity. She'd like to, just reach out more. And one of the things I can think of now is, maybe to Courtney and her personality, her, likes and dislikes, a red clown nose might be just a thing. Or it could be a positive hate bracelet or anything else. But the point is just whatever does it for you, just get creative. Whatever puts a smile on your face. It doesn't even need to be this profound thing,
Yeah, Dalien, it makes me also think of my good friend Shane Garrett. He has a awesome Burning Man bike with all this, like a sidecar for his little, he has 2 little kids and actually 2 due any day now, twins. But he lives right off Sunset in LA, Sunset Boulevard, and he rides this really funky Burning Man bike with his kid in the sidecar with lights coming off of it, and he'll ride it down to the store or whatever locally, and they just get bombarded with people like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, and when you see people that are doing things like that, it's just like, it's another way of wearing the nose, it's another way of, our case, trying to put positivity out there through the podcast. Find a way just to, start experimenting with how can I just do something, buying the person's coffee behind me in line at Starbucks or whatever it may be. Once you start experimenting a little bit with doing things for others, you can very easily get addicted to how good it feels. It really is. It's the surefire way to get yourself out of depression or any of those things. You get it's just so crazy. You get whatever you give away, you attract for yourself. Mm-hmm. And so many people are just missing that little trick. So I encourage everyone to just try and step outside of what their normal routine is and find some way to do the same kind of thing, as their version of the clown nose.
Exactly. Find your own clown nose, people.
Exactly. Get to it. So, moving right along, Mr. Dalien, what do you got in the way of a mysterious story of the day?
Well, our mysterious story is concerning meditation, and this is shaping up to be the theme of the episode, apparently. How you can change and retrain yourself, your brain, and your life by consciously choosing positivity. It's an article from SmithsonianMag.com, brought to you by the mindunleashed.org. That's where we found it, right? And it's a study done on a gentleman, Matthew Ricard, a 66-year-old Tibetan monk and geneticist. That's an interesting combination.
Yeah.
And he is remarkable because he has been studying while engaging in deep meditation, and his brain produces gamma waves, which are already something of a more uncommon thing to find. Of course, you may have heard of the alpha, beta, gamma, or delta waves that we produce during ordinary consciousness and sleep. Now, gamma would be distinct from those because it's linked to profound states of peace, profound states of stillness, tranquility. Essentially a very deep meditative state, right? And what this gentleman Ricard shows is some pretty significant changes in his physiology already. He's got, let's see, I'll just read you real quick from the article. To quantify how happy Ricard is, neuroscientists at the University of Wisconsin attached 256 sensors to the monk's skull. When he meditated on compassion, the researchers were shocked to see that Ricard's brain produces a level of gamma waves off the charts. Okay, so he's someone who through and he's been engaging in meditation for decades, actually.
Right.
So he's someone who has already rewired his brain to such a degree that, like the article mentions, he shows an incredibly enhanced capacity for empathy and happiness.
Right.
And whereas there's regions of his brain that are almost shrunk, that are tied to negativity.
Right.
So his brain has already really just morphed into the brain of a person who is essentially, the doctors look at his brain when they study him and say he's the happiest man on earth. He's got to be, right? But I'll finish with this. The thing that everyone should keep in mind, this is the article mentions, of course, these monks that have engaged in meditation for decades, they're showing some really amazing changes in their brain physiology. But if you engage in meditation for 20 minutes every other day, you will also see changes. The article documents that those changes happen
Just
almost
within,
instantly.
right away. Within weeks, you've already started changing the brain physiology, and it starts rewiring the brain. And so, we talk about being positive and all these things. I love seeing, the physical proof of the changes that actually happen. And it's really a fascinating thing, and is why we want to continue actually talking a little bit about meditation. I had a friend recently ask me about meditation. I'm just kind of being exposed to some of this information for the first time. Well, how would you recommend meditation? How do I do it? And I'm certainly nobody's expert. And, my answer is there is no perfect way. There's so many different techniques, and you can find guided meditations on YouTube where people will talk you through things. You can find techniques, of course, breathing, monitoring your breath, being one of the most common meditation techniques. There's so many different things out there that you can find about it. But what I would say is there's no right or wrong way to do it. More important than anything is the intention that you're setting when you actually go to meditate. Just saying, this is something that I'm doing for myself. I want to, increase my happiness and so forth. And, just to give you the kind of positive pondering of the day and so forth, I have a few different quotes that I found on the subject matter. One from Voltaire: meditation is the dissolution of thoughts in eternal awareness or pure consciousness, without objectification, knowing without thinking, merging finitude in infinity. And that's Voltaire. You have one, I got a couple here. Deepak Chopra: prayer is you speaking to God. Meditation is allowing the Spirit to speak to you. David Lynch: the thing about meditation is you become more and more you. Lao Tzu: to a mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. So here you have people from thousands of years ago to people who are alive and today, and everything in between with that sampling, and they're all kind of painting a picture of what how powerful this practice is. And it's one of those things that I think all of us overlook. It's crazy to think here's this thing that you can become the happiest man in the world essentially, or you can see the physiological benefits that it's they were shocked at what it did to his brain, and here we have the capacity to do that, and we're not doing it. Like, what else would be more important than that? So I think it was important to really bring this to the forefront more and more. And of course, you hear more and more about it, but it's something. Once again, this show is always about, first and foremost, us trying to teach and educate ourselves and remind ourselves of all the things that are important to get where we want to go in life and to continually grow. And so this is something that is, I meditate sporadically, probably I'd say 3-4 times a week I meditate. But it's not as disciplined as I feel like I feel like I could step it up. And once again, there's no right or wrong. Any is better than none at all. But and then some weeks, if I'm really busy, I'll forget to do it at all. So anyway, I just wanted to talk to myself a little bit about meditation and bring you guys in on it. And Dalien, thanks for that great story. What we're going to do today is a little bit different. Instead of playing a song at the outro like we do often days, we're going to play a few minutes of a talk, and then a kind of a guided meditation by Deepak Chopra. It's the benefits of meditation and how to do it. I found on the Voyage Group YouTube page. And we're putting it at the end. So if you're driving, you can stop and pause it and wait till you're at home, because he talks for a few minutes about all the benefits of meditation, and then goes through an actual very simple guided meditation. One of many ways you can do this.
Yeah, it's just a little bit different from our regular musical offerings. It's just more of a spoken word track.
Yeah, well, it made a lot of sense today. Since we're kind of gone down this meditation path, we wanted to give you an actual real world sample and something that you can work with. And it's super simple. Before we continue on with today's episode, for those of you interested in getting more fantastic fungi in your life, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about a friend of mine's brand new company, The Great Mother. Recently, I have been drinking the Great Mother's superfood mushroom coffee alternative called Ritual, as well as regularly taking their awesome Ally microdoses, and I am truly loving both. As you probably know, these days, many of the world's highest achievers and performers swear by microdosing. The problem is it can still be difficult to get a hold of magic mushrooms. That's why when my friend reached out, who lives in an area and country where legalization is not a problem like it was in the past, and said he'd be willing to offer microdoses to my listeners, I wanted to pass the word along. Ally microdoses are 100% organic. And in addition to a small amount of the magic active ingredient, they also contain functional mushrooms like lion's mane, cordyceps, chaga, and other brain boosters like bacopa. Ally is essentially a full spectrum nootropic. And of course, the coffee alternative Ritual doesn't contain magic mushrooms, but it has an array of the best organic functional mushrooms in the world. And, with functional mushrooms, it's really important to get them from the highest integrity sources. And whereas some other highly popular mushroom coffee alternatives on the market only contain a few varieties of functional mushrooms in their actual ingredients, Ritual has 7. Not only does it contain more types, it also contains 3 to 4 times the amount that the big brands have in each serving. And it tastes amazing. I actually like to have it on its own, as well as mixing it into my coffee sometimes as well. However, since this is definitely a unique offering, there are a few steps. First, just reach out and request to follow the private page, thegreat.mother on Instagram. Once you've been accepted to follow, just message what you're interested in getting and someone will get back to you. Before we get into all that, what we're going to do is actually take a question from someone who wrote in, one of our listeners. This is from Jennifer Wilson. And the question was, how do you know that you're making a good decision? A very simple question, actually. What it seems like her concern as she kind of went on, I won't read it all here, but that, I'm not sure if how do I know my decision making is coming from the right place? It's not out of fear or out of, impulse or something like that. And I think that's a really important piece to it is don't make the mistake of taking an impulse as deeper info that can kind of come out of speaking of meditation, this is the perfect type of thing to use. Go within and see what questions you can ask. The decision-making process is really, first, let's say you're hit with something. You want to ask questions first. You want to, asking those questions is super important. And then also pay very, very close attention to how you feel. What is your intuition as well? And I think whenever you're, one thing that I've been known to do in the past is talk fast, act fast. And as I've matured and grown, I'm a little slower to make decisions, and I try and sit with them. Sometimes I'll have, and as someone who has a lot of ideas, sometimes I'll have an idea what I think is a brilliant idea, maybe business related or whatever it may be in. And instead of acting on it right away, I see how that excitement carries forward. And if it carries forward, like the next day, it's still there. And the next day, it's still there. And you can kind of take that same concept and apply it to how to make a good decision. Okay, what is the decision at hand? Okay, how many questions can I ask logically to get all the logical information? Then this is a great time when this powerful tool of meditation, going to the stillness and seeing what comes up, what new questions come up or what feelings come up, and just adding this extra dimension to the decision-making process mixed with conceptual info, it's just totally ups your game on how to make the right decision. And if you sit with something long enough and use all these things that are available, and think of how many people are making decisions without, going to the stillness to see what comes up, what questions come up, or what feelings come up. And when you can start listening to that inner, the inner stillness allows the intuition to kind of really take its voice and come forward. And I think I know when you start doing that, it gives you, it's like getting more data, right? And it's something that so few people are doing. I think more and more are probably realizing this, but once you add this to your repertoire, you add this to the decision-making process, it really helps to guide you, and you get more and more confident. And how am I feeling? What is the feeling that's going on? Not just the logical pieces, but what is the underlying energy that in that really is giving some very valid information to you, because your higher self is communicating through those feelings and emotions. I think of a Sting song, "Let Your Soul Be Your Pilot," right? And that's essentially what you're doing. That's an old but great song. We'll have to play that on an outro one day.
That is a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. So I think of that, and when you start incorporating that piece into it and being, paying attention to the subtle energies, right? Paying attention to those subtle feelings that you have that go beyond just the logic, and you mix that with the logic, and that's really the best possible way that I could ever give advice on how to make a decision.
I can't think of more sound advice, Brandon. And it's that old intention creeping up again. It just always comes back. I would have to endorse the suggestion you made there, because from my own recent experience, I can see that I notice that a lot of people are confused, and I know that confusion is something we experience ourselves as well, but less and less all the time, because since I realized that the quality of the frequency, the vibration, the energy, whatever you want to call it, but the quality of that which expresses as thoughts and feelings is the thing that is really your best indication. And the thing that I notice where people are confused is that they often can't sort those two things. Yeah. So they'll have thoughts that tell them one thing, and the thought may be very, clear, practical, whatever you want to call it, but it's a thought that essentially sort of boils down to a very black and white, clear-cut, binary sort of answer. Yes, no, good, bad, etc. And the thing is that that's fine. That's all well and good. But then there's the intentional and the energetic sides to the whole experience, you could say. And when you can't really see those for what they are, when you don't even acknowledge them in the first place or give them any validity, then all you have essentially left is thoughts. Yeah. And when those thoughts are not something that you can integrate, then, they will pull you in every direction. And that's one thing that I noticed is people being sort of victims to their own thoughts that may not be inherently negative, but they're not processing them in a positive, constructive way. And the thing is, your emotions, your feelings can be such a huge clue as to what's happening there. You could be thinking, okay, if this is such a, positive, powerful thought, why do I feel so bad? Right. That's one thing that I notice a lot of people don't yet make that connection.
Right. And there's a big difference between impulse reaction and feelings that are coming from that deep stillness. So when you're going within and you're tapping into that stillness through meditation or being very calm and so forth, that's very different than I've got an impulse reaction to, do this thing, go buy this product or call my ex-girlfriend or whatever it may be. That can be very impulsive kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, sit with that same idea in a state of deep relaxation and meditation, and then see, let it, so that's something too. There's like, you got to be able to start identifying these impulsive kind of things that pop up. And that's why I think giving it more time, asking more questions and going within and sitting with it is, moving a little slower.
That was awesome, the way in which you tied those two things as well, how you made that connection between the state where you're asking yourself a question, you need to know an answer, you're dealing with, all these life circumstances. And on the other hand, you have this thing that we've been talking about today, meditation. Right. How that puts you in touch with the realm of stillness within you, and it puts you in a state where you're completely relaxed, you're observing alertly, but not identifying with anything, you're not reacting to anything, like you said. And the more you go there, you're beginning to be pervaded by such a deep feeling of peace, of course.
It's like working out a muscle, too.
Exactly. It's working out your mental and emotional muscles, right?
Intuitive, yeah.
And once you do that with any regularity, then all these other challenges that come and go, all the craziness of everyday life, it just won't be able to rattle you the same, because you've got this like deep anchor here that's like helping you make sense of it all. Yep. It's balancing it out.
Using more of the tools that are at your disposal, and the funny thing is the most powerful tool is the one oftentimes being used the least. Everyone's just using this logical processing or dealing with impulses. and not really going deeper for answers. So yeah, thank you for that question. A very good one. We appreciate you taking the time, Jennifer, to write in. We hope more people will write in. We love getting questions or comments or feedback from the audience. And of course, you can also do the same thing. Give us a rating or review on iTunes if you're enjoying the podcast. We certainly appreciate that. Tell a friend. We appreciate that. Otherwise, let us know about, for those of you who would like our happy holiday, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's gift, write us through the website. We'd love to spread a bit of positivity to you during this joyous season. And with all that being said, we're going to leave you today with Deepak Chopra. Once again, this is Benefits of Meditation and How to Do It. I found this on the Voyage Group YouTube page. Very simple. Make sure you're not driving. So if you're driving and you want to do this, wait until you get home. But just put pause on the podcast. And
please do. Be safe, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. No deep meditative drivers, please. Everything in its right context. But otherwise, thank you guys as always for tuning in. Remember, until next time, as long as you ain't dead, you're already positive ahead. Be well, everyone.
What you have to understand, very simply, is that everything that happens in your mind has a physical representation in your brain, and everything that happens in your brain correlates with what happens in your body. So your perceptions, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your memories, the images in your consciousness all influence what's happening in the brain. Neurotransmitters like dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, opiates, and many others. And of course, then that has its effect in the body. Here's one thing to remember. Your mind, your body, and your consciousness, which is your spirit, and your social interactions, your personal relationships, your environment, how you deal with the environment, and your biology are all inextricably woven into a single process. This is an integrated process, and your breath and your heartbeat and your heart rate variability, which tells us about your stress levels, your hormone levels, adrenaline, cortisol, they're all part of this process. So by influencing one, you influence everything. When you experience negative or toxic emotions such as compulsiveness, fear, greed, anger, hostility, or doubt, then of course that creates stress, and then that creates damage to your body. Through meditation, you can actually reverse the effects of this toxic experience of life, whether it's toxic emotions, toxic environment, toxic habits, toxic substances. The key is to experience inner silence, and when you experience inner silence, then your body returns to its baseline status, which is called homeostasis, and that is also self-repair. So let's do a breathing exercise. Please close your eyes, put your feet on the ground, don't cross your legs, keep your hands open, and just observe your breath. Just observe your breath right now. And you don't manipulate your breath, you just observe it. As you observe your breath, then of course you may be distracted by thoughts or sensations in your body, sounds in your environment. Whatever happens, it's supposed to happen. You don't fight it, but you gently come back to observing the breath. Now, as you observe the breath, on the in-breath, mentally say to yourself, so. So the in-breath, so, and the out-breath, hum. So, hum. So, hum. So, hum. So, hum. So, hum. Okay, now on your own, on the in-breath, so, mentally, on the out-breath, hum.